Hello everybody, Felicia Day here, and I'm doing one of the requested videos that you guys asked for. One of the requested topics was board games, and it occurred to me something useful that I could do would be to do newbie board games. I was not into tabletop games necessarily before I started producing Tabletop with Will, and through working with him on the show and watching all the episodes, I literally have people over 2 to 3 times a month to play. And the cool thing is when you can introduce somebody who never has board game before to something brand new. Especially around the holiday time, you're gonna have a bunch of relatives you have to entertain. Why not get something that you can play together rather than talk? The other day I had people over and I decided to play a game that I have had on my shelf for a long time called Aurora and Labora. Not an intro game. This game has 490 pieces or something like that. And then we tried to read the manual. There's 3 of them. So I thought I'd share my top games to pull out when someone brand new comes over and doesn't know anything about how to play things. Okay? Let's do it! First, as you can see, we have a classic, and I didn't want to include anything that you might be familiar with, but bottom line, Ticket to Ride is #1. I just got the 10th anniversary collector's edition, and this is like so pretty. If you're not familiar with the game, watch the tabletop episode. It's pretty simple. You have a map. God, this is a big board. And you have colored trains that you collect in your hand. And using those colored trains, you collect 4 red trains. You can build from here to here. And you build depending on what kind of ticket you have. From like Denver to Atlanta. Or, oh God, I'm sure you're all familiar with this and you can learn how to play it pretty easily by watching the show. So this would be my #1 recommendation for a game to have on hand to teach to brand new gamers. The special edition has these beautiful tins for the different train colors, and they're plastic and detailed. Look, circus. These trains have little tiny, the giraffe heads. Next game is one that I picked up randomly off the internet because I like jewelry. It's called Splendor, and the pieces are jewels. It only takes about 30 minutes to play. It is kind of a baby game, so if you're an experienced gamer, you're like, this is pretty simple. But once you start playing it, you realize that it's actually quite competitive, especially as the game gets toward the end. So the basic mechanic is that you're trying to get points, and the way you get points is to collect jewels. Look, there's a ruby and an emerald. What's that? And the way you get points is to use the jewels that you collect to fill in these cards. So this card gives you 5 points toward the end game, and in order to get it, you have to have 7 diamonds and 3 sapphires. But the long-term game is you don't necessarily just have to collect jewels on a one-time use basis. This is a sapphire that will be permanently in your collection if you collect this particular card. The game board is pretty easy to lay out. It's just 4 of these cards across that you refill every time someone takes them, and there are 3 levels of difficulty that increase in the number of jewels that you have to collect. And then the last mechanic is that if you happen to collect enough permanent jewels in the form of cards, these ladies and gentlemen nobles will come and visit you. Oh, I'd like to see your gem collection. So if you collect 4 cards with 4 permanent black gems and 4 permanent diamonds, then this lady will be part of your retinue. And it gets super competitive. Even though this is like a baby warm-up game, every single time I have board game, no matter how hardcore the people who come over, they want to warm up with this game. And jewelry. This is actually a game that's going to be on this season of Tabletop. And thank you, Will Wheaton. After having watched the edits and given notes on it, I immediately bought it. It is called Concept, and it is basically a board game version of charades. I'm not sure, but I think it's a European game because the board is all pictures, kind of like an IKEA manual, but much more understandable. So the concept is that you pull a card and you pick one of these terminologies to describe to the rest of the table. So let's see. This is, let's just say Bruce Lee. So Bruce Lee is what I have to convey to either my teammates or the table in order to be able to get points. You convey not through words, not through gestures that make you look really stupid, but through the board. So the board has all these different pictures on it. So this means, upside down. Ow! This is a square. This is green. This is old, baby, female, male. Bruce Lee, I would probably start as a concept on a person. So I would say a male. And then from there, I would further go fighting, or I don't know what I would do. So then I would start on a different concept with regard to the clue and perhaps put it on movies. Really simple mechanic, gets really, really hard, especially if you get like a phrase like leave someone speechless. Forget it. It is the perfect party game for somebody who doesn't know how to play board games, and I am terrible at it, but I cannot stop playing. This one a friend of mine introduced me to, and I love, love, love it. It's called Pandante. Now, it's the most complicated of the ones that I'm sharing today, but because the basic principle is poker, I feel like it's a good entry point. Also, compulsive gamblers will really love this game. So if you have one of those, like Aunt Martha from Vegas, you know, you gotta keep her busy, this would be it. So the goal of the game is to collect money, and the winner gets to a certain threshold of money, i.e. poker chips. And every round you're gonna bet with these poker chips. Every round you're gonna get a handful of cards, and these cards are so adorable. They're panda cards. You'll have like a 4 of red and a 4 purple and a 6 of orange, and you always keep your cards secret because part of this game is crazy, crazy bluffing. Every round you're gonna bet on what kind of hand that you have. So it's basic poker hands, so pair, 3 of a kind, straight, full house. They also take into account the colors, so a floosh would be 4 of one color, a rainbow straight would be a straight with different colors, 4 of a kind, etc., etc., etc. And the strategy is to lie, but not lie too much, because if you're too honest and you only have a pair, if somebody else says they have a full house, on your round, you have to pay in order to be able to exchange a card. You want to bluff just enough to get all the benefit, but not to have somebody call you out and show that you're a jerk. Every round, you have a flop, so everyone has community cards, and you can change your bets based on that, but never downwards. So that's why you don't want to be too aggressive with betting. It goes around 2 or 3 times. There are other little tiny mechanics that make it great, so you can improve your hands. And right before the end scoring, you could say, I'm going to use some color abilities. So every color that's in the deck allows you different abilities. So at the end I say, hey, I have a green and a red card. I might not, but unless somebody calls me on it, I'm gonna go ahead and be able to use that. So a green card says draw a card, then you discard a card. Reveal a card you kept. And then red says that everybody else has to pay 5 gold to the pot or fold. So again, it's a question of balancing out your bluff, being aggressive enough, but not too much. At the end of the round, the person on the highest bid wins, not the person who necessarily has the best hand. So you can lie and win. And if you do that, you get one of these uber powerful Panda Lord cards that give you crazy abilities for the rest of the game and basically will help you, win at the end. There are several other little subtle things that you can do with this game. It's very easy to pick up once you show somebody, and the basic principle is poker, plus pandas. So I would say that it's pretty super fun. Tell me if you pick up one of these games or what your perfect game is to pull out when you have somebody who's a total noob come over, not in an insulting way. And I appreciate it. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.